Here we are. A first look at Phoenix, Jean Grey. She's coming to Marvel Rivals on July 11th. So let's have a look at her abilities. I'm going to watch this through first without pausing, and then we'll slow it down and break down what exactly is going on. Because there's a lot going on with her kit. So she's a duelist, and she has, well, you know, the Phoenix form kind of as like a separate entity here, which is quite interesting. Let's have a look at this. We'll play it, like I say, play it through without any pauses or anything.
Behold my cosmic fight.
Alright. Put my head down here and then we'll react to it probably in a second. So, when you attack someone, it seems to put something over their heads. Okay. She can fly a little bit.
Turning up the heat.
Ooh, a lot of bursty AoE damage. Looks like the new map as well. That seems somewhat similar to... Goodness. A lot of AoE damage. Let's see the ultimate. Wow. Here we go.
You are nothing!
Whoa. So she can cancel like all abilities. All traps. Including Hela ults. I wonder if she can cancel Punisher's ult or what. That is... crazy. Wow. That's a very utility-based ability for a duelist, I must say. So, let us break this down, because there is a lot to go through here. I'm really quite impressed, actually, with what's going on. So, I'm going to put my face here in the middle so we can have a closer look at the abilities. And we're going to turn off the volume so we can sort of slow it down on the actual abilities themselves. Because there is, like I say, a lot to go through here. So, let's go into this and see. So we're going to pause it here first. Right. She has a primary attack with 12 shots, a right click, a shift, an E, and an ultimate, right? So it almost looks like the Phoenix form or Phoenix Force is always behind her. Now what I'm noticing here is as she attacks, it builds up this little thing here. So there's 3 sort of hits to fully charge out. 1, 2, actually, no, it seems to be 2. 2 hits. And then, what happens? She doesn't use an ability. It almost seems like if that flame is filled up, it does a burst of damage. And it's a lot of damage. Okay, I'm going to assume that's somewhat related to her passive ability. So, as she hits people, it will do damage. And it seems to be somewhat related to doing AoE burst. So perhaps as people are clumped together, you're going to do more AoE burst. Her shift ability here is, let's see. So she activates her shift ability roundabout now. Bam. So she like steps back here. And then, okay. Well, a lot just went on. Let's slow this down again. So she uses her shift, which seems to change form. She's now in Phoenix form, which is interesting. And then that allows her to fly up on height, I guess. And then there's a cooldown. She also has a bar on the right side, which is really, really interesting there. Can you see that? Well, hang on a minute. Let's break this down like slower because there's so much to like figure out here. With all the abilities kind of playing at once. So if we go playback speed like 0.5 maybe to begin with. So she starts attacking, bam, activates that. She like phases backwards. And I think that's the shift, which is really interesting. So the shift seems to be like almost like a dash back. So it's a maneuverability, anti-dive, somewhat similar to the Ultron dash on his shift. And then that immediately goes on cooldown for 12 seconds. And then she presses E, which is her third ability. And then she kind of enters a flight stage, which has a fuel meter, like most other flight characters. She then flies up into the air, cancels flight. So it's not like there's 2 forms, but she uses the Phoenix Force to be able to enter flight. And then she can quickly cancel it, and she can use it at will. So it's based on a fuel meter as opposed to having a single cooldown. And then up on height, she then activates her right click, her secondary attack, which seems to do an AoE burst and then a massive chunk of damage. Yeah. Wow. Now, it does seem like as she attacks players with the sort of primary, and it builds up that bar, it builds up the flame, it then does a burst of AoE damage as well. So there's a lot of AoE damage here. Bam, ready? Thor explodes, bam, bam, and then look at this. Venom also explodes. So I think the way it works, and this is probably tied to the passive, as you fire with the primary, once that fire symbol is built up, you fire again, and it does a burst of damage, which is also AoE. So that is pretty impressive. Okay, so now we're moving on, and there's a lot of players clumped up in a small area. She's firing her primary here. And as you can see, they've all got the primary on. Oh my god, that's her right click and her primary together. So they both seem to do a lot of burst AoE damage. That is crazy. Look at how much damage this is in a short time. So when players are clumped up together, you can do a lot. That is pretty crazy. Okay, and then this is the ultimate. Now, the really fun thing about this is, I saw it a minute ago. If you look at the ultimate activate, once she gets here, so she can fly for quite a long time. And then she activates her right click, which does a large burst of damage. And then, is it the next clip she goes into her ult? Oh, yeah, the next clip she goes into her ult. Take a look at this. So she comes in, and it basically disables a lot of sort of placed abilities. So she's about to activate it now. And then, obviously, Hela here is about to activate her ult, or she already does. And then she counters it. And then you sort of go into like a phoenix, and you fly down. Bam. You get 20 seconds of ult usage, it seems. You can choose where to fly. And I guess if you hit the ground, it then creates a large, huge AoE fire burst, dealing damage and destroying traps. You can see the Rocket Raccoon beacon. I think that's even the ultimate there gets destroyed, actually. All of the Rocket Raccoon penny mines gets destroyed instantly. The penny mine gets destroyed. So it's a massive area denial tool that's going to absolutely like allow you to take control of massive areas of the game, right? That is a really strong ability for a duelist, in my opinion. Let's go back to normal speed now and then just watch it back through one more time. So, yeah, I mean, a lot of bursty damage, but also some great utility here, which I'm quite surprised about. Now we have a better understanding of the abilities. Let's watch it again. So the primary attack, burst of damage comes through. It does headshot damage. It has critical damage. Some duelists don't, so that's nice to see.
Cosmic Flame!
Cosmic Flame, that's her secondary then. Okay. Then here she uses a combination of her primary and her secondary. And it seems like it triggers off of something there to do AoE damage. That is like massive amounts of hits. I think the more players in the radius of the secondary, when it triggers, the more it sort of bursts into damage. You get more bursts, which is crazy. So you're not going to want to stick alongside each other when there's a Phoenix on the team. The actual standard damage isn't too bad. That's so... It's like a dive bomb attack. Oh, and that's a nice little thing. Look, when she goes into Phoenix form, because in this version of it, that's like a separate entity. She basically, once the ult is over, she goes back to where she started. Look at this. She stays there. That is really cool. Okay, well, that's amazing. I actually can't wait to play. This looks like a lot of fun. I know people will be like, it's another duelist, but I think we deserve a good duelist now. A traditional one. Although this one has a lot of utility. What are your thoughts? Let me know, and I'll see you all in the comments. Cheerio.